month's addition to the Food Corner. Today we're going to be making Crockpot Enchiladas. We need 6 whole wheat tortillas, a pound of pre-cooked hamburger meat, a can of pinto beans, a can of black beans rinsed and drained, a quarter of a cup of water, a can of tomatoes with green chilies, some cumin, pepper, and chili powder, and 1 cup Monterey Jack and 1 cup sharp cheddar cheese. Crock pots are really something that people don't take advantage of in their kitchens. I always call the crock pot the drive-through at your home because you can put things on early in the morning. When you get home for those busy evenings, there it is ready for you to go. A lot of times people don't think about crock pot cooking for anything but maybe roasts or meats, but really you can do a lot in a crock pot. And so today we're going to show you how to do some crock pot enchiladas. They're very quick and easy, but there are a couple of tips you need to know to make it successful. The first thing that we've done is we have our pre-cooked hamburger meat, and we've already seasoned this. We've already got our chopped up onions, our chopped up bell peppers. What is a great idea for busy families is to go ahead and buy the family pack of hamburger meat, the 3 or 4 pounds. Once you get that home, instead of dividing it up and putting it in the freezer raw, go ahead, put it in a large Dutch oven or a pot, cook it, season it, and then divide it up into the bags. It takes about 3½ cups of cooked hamburger meat to equal 1 pound. As long as you use that within about 3 months, you're good to go. And so that really works well when you're trying to put together a fast meal. Now, when you are doing it for the crock pot, we don't want to put anything frozen in a crock pot. It takes too long for it to heat up, and there's a food safety issue there. So go ahead, defrost that, and then you're going to be okay. In fact, we're going to go ahead and we've got it defrosted a little bit, and we're going to add some other ingredients into it before we put it in our crock pot. So we're going to get this started. You just want to do this on about a medium heat. Add in your hamburger. Then we're going to add in our drained and rinsed black beans. If you've ever opened up a can of black beans, don't be alarmed. There's kind of a thick liquid in with black beans. One time I was at a cooking school and one of the gentlemen came up and he said, "I think there's something very wrong with these beans." No, that's the way black beans look in the can. And so put them in a colander, rinse them very well, and that's when you get what we're used to seeing as black beans. You want to drain your pinto beans. And then add in your, my skillet is full. You want to add in your rotel or your tomatoes and green chilies. Let's kind of get that stirred around just a little bit. And then we're going to add in our spices, and it's just a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of chili powder, and cumin. Cumin is a great spice. It gives a lot of smoky flavor to meats and to dishes. And we're going to let that kind of cook and simmer for a little bit before we add it into our crock pot. And there goes our little bit of water. You can put a lot of different things in a crock pot, and you can adjust your cooking times. If a recipe calls for you to bake something in the oven for 15 to 30 minutes, you can actually cook that in a crock pot on high for about an hour, hour and a half, or on low for about 4 to 6 hours. And you can still have the same product. The other thing to remember with a crock pot is we don't want to use a crock pot that is less than about 3/4 full. Things aren't going to cook as well. So if you do have a recipe that doesn't fill your crock pot up as much, go ahead and reduce the temperature or reduce the cooking times for that, because you're not going to get a product that you're real fond of. Another tip for crock pot meals is, and this is something that I tell people and then they're like, really? When you have a large piece of meat, like a roast, one of the things that people do use their crock pots for quite a bit is for roast. we really don't want to put the entire roast in the crock pot whole. We want to go ahead and cut that into chunks. The reason for that, again, is a food safety issue. We want the food in our crock pot to be at least 140 degrees in the center within about an hour and a half of cooking. And so that's something that we want to watch for. We want to make sure that we cut those things up so that they reach that temperature in a fair amount of time. Now that our hamburger meat has had a chance to simmer a little bit and all of those flavors to blend just a tad, we're ready to put this in the crock pot. And this is where the easy part comes in. You just get your crock pot. Another tip that I might tell you is you can prepare this, have that ready, have it in a bowl in the refrigerator. The next morning when you get up right before you leave for work, just pull that bowl out, layer your ingredients, put the lid on, and turn the crock pot on, and you're ready. So don't feel like you have to do this in the morning. You can do it the night before and come in that next morning and do it. We are going to put a layer of the meat on the bottom, and you don't have to fill up the entire bottom. Just make sure that there's a pretty even layer in there. And then I add on the cheese, which I kind of like to call the glue in the recipe. But you put a little bit of cheese, whole grain or whole wheat flour tortillas. Remember, we want to make half of our grains whole. And so this is a good way to add that into our diets instead of, always trying to do the whole grain toast, although I recommend that. This is a way that you can add that in as well. Put in a flour tortilla, and then you're just going to add some more meat to cover the top. One of the things that we see a lot, especially in fall, is that families are so busy, and even individuals without families seem to be so busy in the fall, and our diets really tend to suffer for that. And like I said at the beginning, I love crock pots because they're kind of like the drive-through at your kitchen. You drive in between activities, you can run up to the counter, you can serve the meal, and be out the door. If you use one of the crock pot liners, that also helps for easy cleanup, and so that's another way that we can do that. But you don't have a lot of dishes, you don't have a lot of stuff going on in the kitchen. Just run in, have your meal, eat nutritiously, and be on your way again instead of doing that drive-through thing. You've heard me say that it takes 30 minutes for the food to go from your mouth into your stomach, go back to your brain to tell you you're full. And when you're drive-through eating, sometimes you overeat because your brain and your stomach don't have time to communicate. So that's one thing to really think about. We're going to put the lid on. We want to put this on low for about 4 to 6 hours, and then it's ready. This is one of those recipes that you can put it on high. If you put it on high, it's going to be ready in about an hour and a half to 2 hours, give or take just a little bit. The reason that crock-pot cooking works very well while you're gone is because you're not supposed to raise the lid. When you raise the lid on a crock-pot, it can take up to 30 minutes for the heat to go back up to the level that it was before you did it. So leave it alone. It'll be ready when you get home for that healthy meal. If you put the side salad with this dish, it makes it a really balanced meal. We need to eat vegetables every day, at least 3 cups of vegetables every day, but we really need to eat leafy greens at least 3 times a week. And so this is an easy time that you can add that in. It's very fast, very easy. Be sure to come back to the Food Corner, part of newstar.com, for more demonstrations and recipes. And if you have any questions, contact the Pottawatomie County OSU Extension Office. We'd like to send a great thanks to Rock Creek Baptist Church for letting us use their facilities today. And remember, eat better, eat together.